the curveball or whatever it is, but I'm going to throw you that fastball. Do not be late on the fastball. And so I think those are important drills to remind them about how to develop that discipline, especially as 10-year-olds, to say, yeah, no, I don't care. He can flip it to me. That's one, and fine. Maybe it goes for a strike or it bounces on the plate. But whenever he throws that one with a little zip on, I will not be late on the fastball.
So towards that end, training that mental. So let's pretend I got two balls here, right? I've got, this will be like a baseball, and then my phone would be like a tennis ball. Okay, so one of the things that I'll do, and this is great literally for any age, but I'll hide it from guys. I'll stick them in a glove. And what I'll do is I'll do a front flip, and then one ball will come out. Okay, so I make them very aware that the baseball is like the fastball, and then this is like the tennis ball would be like the curveball. So you basically have two different cues that you have to recognize. Well, the first thing we do is we just hit everything. Just stay aggressive and just hit everything. Just go, right? Well, that's easy. I mean, there's no swing. There's nothing to even think about. Well, the minute that I add that breaking ball, and all I want to do here is just do pitch recognition. What I'll say, all right, now I want you to go get the baseball, and I want you to try to take the curveball. Just it's recognition. It isn't the taking aspect that's a big deal for me. It's pitch recognition that's a big deal for me. That they begin to understand that, okay, I've got to start engaging my brain and start concentrating as to what's coming out of his hand. That's the bigger component. So, and then the way I will recognize it is I'll say, look, there's two types of errors you could make. The one error is you would not swing at the baseball. The other error is you would not swing at the baseball, or you would swing at the tennis ball. Okay, of those two errors, not swinging at the baseball is grounds for banishment from the facility. Like you walk out, you're done, never to come back. Do not take the baseball. Do not take the baseball. Do not take the baseball. Now, I would like you to take the tennis ball. That's in a perfect world. If you don't take the tennis ball, I'm not going to punish you. I'm not going to scream. I'm just going to say, if you can, I'd like you to. Right? So they need to understand that the two errors, one is an extreme error, and one is this cautious error that's unacceptable. Okay, especially as you're training this, and that's what he's talking about. When guys get on the fence, they take that baseball, and then that never plays, that never develops. Right? If a dog's going to bite, he'll bite as a pup, and we want our hitters in there swinging, because sometimes pitchers make mistakes, and when they do, we're gonna blast away. And again, it looks like this, and then one comes out, and we want their brain always saying rip, no, right? The minute they get on careful, then we beat them. The pitchers beat them. Okay, so intent precedes content. Prior to worrying about how they move, we got to make sure they want to move.
Whenever you're in a cage, there's a lot of times I debate with whether to throw really hard,
Yeah.
or how often throw really hard,
Yeah.
and how often to just kind of.
Man, so this was the topic of conversation in my house just 2 days ago. What such a pertinent question. So when Luke was younger, what I would do is I would throw rockets at him from a small distance, and in my mind I was saying we're gonna simulate velocity. I mean, I'm gonna throw hard, and we're gonna get the velocity. And we did. I mean, he was quick, and he flipped the switch. But here's my concern. Here's what happened. I think he would agree with me, because I threw hard. I sort of forced impact deep, right? Like I fired in on him, and it was way back here, and it sort of forced it deep on him. And although I do think it was beneficial at the time. Now, what he and I are working on is trying to get impact more out in front, just slide it forward. And when you're hitting off of a tee, you can put the ball out in front wherever you'd like. When you start to throw in a smaller cage, which is what we all do, I think sometimes simulating velocity is good from a theoretical standpoint. We're just going to get them used to what they're going to see, but because they don't have the distance to anticipate and judge ball flight and go get it on their own terms, I think sometimes we jam it in on them. And then the act of hitting batting practice sometimes becomes surviving batting practice, you know, where they fight things off and they're constantly in adjustment mode. So what I've, again, like I told you, where I stand today, is I don't really throw hard unless I can create distance. But then I've got a limited tank because my arm will hurt. So from like a normal distance, I'll throw it reasonable, but nothing too extreme. And the idea there is some of the cues I'm using is, you know, get up on time, get it out in front. It's because, you know, training our brain to impact balls out in front, that will serve us well for velocity, right? So whereas before I said, hey, let me train you for velocity by simulating it, now I'm training impact out in front, hoping that by changing the goal, that will eventually serve us well when the distance pops up, if that makes sense, right? So I don't necessarily really try to throw ball by guys in a smaller cage anymore. Your wheels are turning. You got something?
No, just processing.
Yeah. Yeah, the idea being if a guy gets in the batter's box, and you know, there's some language out there on the internet and Twitter that I like, someone that I follow says the party's out in front. And the idea being is that once a ball gets beyond a certain point on its trajectory, then we find ourselves trying to manipulate to have success. Whether that manipulation be an adjustment that we're forced to make, which is a good thing, if it gets that deep, or sometimes we try to error correct with the top hand, which is a common rollover, right, where that top hand really tries to manipulate. But if you can consistently get it out in front, there's a chance that you don't have to manipulate your barrel late in the ball flight.
That's what I was wondering, if by forcing that heavy velocity early, were you creating errors? Like, were you forcing, like, maybe
Forcing
wasn't
incredible adjustments.
Was a kid stepping out?
Yeah.
Was a kid, you know what I mean? Like, all those pieces.
Yep.
They hate the inside pitch because they can never hit it
Well,
with that velocity. Or
and one of the reasons I like to do it was just to create the intent. You know, that was one of the things that we could develop. And we developed at such a young age, the intent. And that was an intent-producing drill. It may not have benefited the precision component that eventually, you know, pops up as players get older. But that's just, you know, so to answer your question, you know, if I want to work on quickness, if I want players to be quick, I might do that from a tee work standpoint, where we do race to the ball. You ever seen race to the ball? The other one that I started to do, which I just sort of happened upon, was I'll stack those boxes that they have. You know, those the 3 colored boxes at the facility.
the mats?
The mats.
Yeah.
And I'll just roll it right off the edge. So a kid will be standing here hitting, and then the boxes are stacked right here. And instead of dropping it like I used to do this and then just drop it, well, now the ball will roll, and then it'll get to the edge and it'll fall. So they can anticipate it. They see it coming, and then as it goes, boom, then it drops. Now they got to respond quickly because it's just, the gravity is just pulling it to the ground. So I really like it where, and you know, you play with it where you want it, but there's, and I used to say, you know, if I was pressed for time and I wanted to pick my best hitters, I would do a ball drop drill because it just shows me quickness. Well, this is similar, but I think it's better, and I think it's better because they can see it. It's not this rush to swing. So I literally, you know, I stand on the other side and the hitter's there, and I just roll it. And the other cool thing is, here's that curveball component. Because I'm not a machine, I can't roll it at the same tempo every time. So one time it'll come off fast, and then another time it'll poof, right? So they're like, ah. And if you do it enough, you'll get good at it. It might become one of your favorite little drills for curveball, for quickness, for just getting it out in front.
So are they hitting it against the mat right?
Yeah,
right in
so
front of them?
if you know,
They
so,
can't hit you in that
No.
point. I'm trying to think where you're
So
standing.
I'm behind. So these mats,
Yeah.
these jump boxes are
They're like
piled-
octagons. Right?
Octagons.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah,
So they're
okay.
right in front of me, and I'm just
Right.
chilling on the other side, right?
Okay.
So as I roll it, it literally rolls across the top,
Yeah.
and then it falls down, and then he's right here, and as it falls,
Hitting that way.
he hits it out that way.
Gotcha. So there's enough space that's created from the mat that like
Yep.
you can get it.
He
Okay.
can get, it just rolls right on. I actually have it. And it is worth seeing.
Yeah.
I actually have it where you might want to see it.
If you send it to me, I'll send it out.
Yeah, okay. But I'll show it to you if you're going to want to see that.
That's cool.
Anything else? share something with you here, and this is the first time I brought this. Last time I took a picture of it and we sent it out, and I just want to share this with you. So I'm going to label this relaxed, and I apologize. So I'm really concentrating here. Stressed. So over here to the far left is just our relaxed states. So as a coach, when are we relaxed? Like, when are the times when we're pretty much just comfortable with our kids and there's not much stress?
Up 16-1.
Okay, so now you immediately jump to like a game environment, but like, what about like on your Sunday practices? Is that a stressful environment? It's a stressful
I
environment
feel
for
stressed.
you.
I feel stressed, yeah.
Are they stressed?
No.
No, they're not, right? Like, that's the difference. Like, you might be stressed because you're trying to keep them safe and run a
Yeah.
practice, but for the most part, they're not stressed. So let's see, there's three kinds of feedback that we could give kids. And the one that we all love is appreciation, right? So appreciation, of course, is just, you guys know what appreciation is, clapping, all that good stuff. The one that we engage in probably more than anything is coaching, hoping that they don't take it as criticism, right? And then this one here is tricky. What should I use here? We'll use this. This is the one that it gets really, really, really tricky, evaluation. So this one says, you're the man, love what you're doing, I see you working, keep at it, right? This one says, get the ball out in front, stay back, right? All of those things. This one is dangerous because this one creates comparisons, right? So this one is grades on your report card. This one is hitting third or hitting seventh in the batting order. This one is going out the shortstop or going out the left field. This one says, I have to make a decision, and then in my decision, you are implicitly going to be evaluated. And kids know that, and they feel it, and they experience it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to share with you what I feel is my current position, and then we can throw it out there. This isn't anything I read. This is something that I've come to believe, and then we can talk about it. So let's talk about appreciation. So I think that appreciation has this graph to it. I think appreciation, when we're in our relaxed state, they don't necessarily need a ton of appreciation, but it always feels good. Whenever you want to give someone appreciation, they're willing to listen. Notice it's not down here. There's not, this is our quantity. There's not a little amount of appreciation. So this is the way I see appreciation going. I see it growing when you get into a stressed environment. So in your stressed environment, this to me is game day. Okay, now I'm showing you that because on game day, they might have a little bit of doubt. I mean, the very confident ones might not. Like, they might roll out of bed thinking they're going 4 for 4 and they don't need a ton of praise. But some, like most players, athletes need reaffirmed on game day, because on game day is judgment day. Is I'm going to be, grandparents are coming as they get older, it's girlfriends, and it's tough. It can be a high stressful situation. The coaching looks like this. Coaching looks like that. All right, coaching goes down, which means when they're relaxed, right now in your practice environment, it's the peak of your coaching. Okay, my practices used to be super intense and super full of just constant coaching, constant feedback, given because in my mind they were relaxed. They weren't going to get judged. They were out here on a Saturday, on a Sunday. It's not like there's a batting average attached to this. They're not going to go home and feel awful, but we're trying to improve